We are an unstoppable force. What makes us strong? The human connect. Through time, we move on, even when the world is in free fall. We evolve. Technology drives our evolution. Through life, changing work life. From office spaces to workplaces. From skills to capabilities. From employees to a talent workforce. From an endless loop to a full circle. And that is who we are. We bring your people together across locations, cultures, boundaries. To find joy through your experiences, to find meaning, your purpose. And as you evolve, so do we. We see the future through your eyes, and we bring it to life now. We are your momentum, your liftoff. We are your evolution. We are people strong.
Good afternoon, Singapore. This feels like really something. We're finally meeting face to face. I wish to start with a disclaimer, though. I'm not trained well enough for what's been asked of me by the People Matters team. Talk to a room full of people, you know why, and talk only for 20 minutes, right? We've been used to such long Zoom calls and team meetings and stuff like that, but we'll try to combine all of this in 20 minutes. Jokes apart, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be standing here and addressing a topic which I feel we are all not given an adequate time to prepare. And that is the advent of Industry 4.0 and HR Tech 4.0. The last 24 months have changed everything for business, for leaders, for employees, and now as the dust settles, one fact becomes clear. The power has shifted from organizations to people, from profit to mutual profit, from me to we, towards a talent economy where talent has more negotiating power than we ever had. On top of that, the fourth industrial revolution has blurred the lines between people and technology, fusing the physical, digital, and biological worlds. People strategies are now getting altered to address the DAO entity, the Decentralized Autonomous Organization. This was a coin that was termed in 2016 to address the crypto technologies, but this is a reality that is facing all of us today. There are three core areas where technology enables a decentralized autonomous organization. One is delivering a hyper-personalized employee experience. Employee is no different than a customer. So why is there a difference when an employee is given that experience? And it is the same employee who's expected to give a very different level of experience to their customers. So that is the first thing. The second one is bringing agility to people and business operations. So business operations are really talking about improving productivity, increasing the output that the employees can really bring onto the table. And at the same time, HR has to address whether they can get people back to business or not, right? That's a huge debate that's going on between the hybrid work, the real old type of work from home, and things like that. So that's the second biggest problem. The third one is the data-driven decision-making on talent. On an average, HR practitioners are dealing with about 10 to 17 different application platforms, right? And that is where they're completely confused on the data front. So they need a comprehensive technology platform which can really bring all of this data together. But the question is how? How does HR Tech 4.0, the next phase of HR technology, help enterprise meet their most difficult challenges? And for that, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor and a privilege and a moment of extreme pride for me to call out a very dear friend and an esteemed customer of PeopleStrong Philippines, Marvin Victoriano, Chief People Officer at Inspiro Relia Global Shared Services, a specialist CX outsourcing company with a global network of 17,000 employees focusing across 15 plus centers. Marvin is an astute professional and a great visionary who, along with his teams, were able to clearly articulate their vision on how they need to address the needs of HR 4.0 and a DAO organization. Marvin, over to you.
Hi,
thank you
good
so very
afternoon.
much for coming over.
Thanks for having me.
If we both were in Hollywood, I would have been his body double and he would have been the superstar. Thank you so much for coming over.
Maybe
really
we should just have a
appreciate
seat first.
Yes, please. Thank you.
I'm so happy to be here. Oops, there. So happy to be here. We do talk about what lies ahead, and before we talk about what's the future, kind of like need to have a little bit of a background on what Inspiro is and where we were. Inspiro's been around. We're a BPO company that's based in the Philippines, and we've been around for about 20 years. I've actually been there for about 12, and the growth has been quite phenomenal. And because we have been growing since the time that we started, our client portfolios have been very varied. So we have local accounts as well as international accounts, and they have very particular needs. And one of the things that are kind of like unique to us is that our headcount grows over time through some seasonal ramps that we have. So when we were starting, we only had like retail accounts that would have a seasonal ramp about 50, and now our seasonal ramps goes about 3,000 every season, and that's like 3 or 4 times a year. So with that comes a lot of legacy policies and processes, as well as the need to be very, very agile in terms of our response to the business needs. So from a volume perspective, Inspiro is currently at about 17,000 employees that we're managing, and we have a growth rate that is quite steady. We hire about 2,000 every month, and that means basically we're processing applicants and candidates, well over 13,000 of them on a day-to-day basis. Our recruiters are doing end-to-end recruitment, and we're located not just in Metro Manila, but also outside the capital, as well as presence in Nicaragua and the US. So with all of these, of course, there would be the typical transactions that we would have payroll-wise, training, leadership development, and all of that. That was where we've been, right? And with that kind of profile came a lot of challenges that we had. As I said, there was a lot of legacy practices, a lot of legacy policies. In fact, our HMO, Kiran, believe it or not, we actually have 10 different HMOs for all the 17,000 employees that we have. So there's a lot of manual processes that we had. I used to say that our HR system back then was like a Frankenstein. We had nuts and bolts stuck all over the place. We would have our IT come up with some internal program that they would develop so that at least our spreadsheets, our super Excel spreadsheets would somehow be linked together, and we'd be able to make a sense of all the data points that we have. But it really came at a price of very high turnaround time. It came with very low accuracy. One of the things that we had to trade off was for HR to have very little value add into the discussion, because we were also busy just scrubbing the data and making sure that it's an accurate thing. There was no single source of truth for us. I remember the time that whenever we presented headcount reports or attrition reports, some other person from another department would raise their hand and say, where did you get that data? Because my data is different. So there's a lot of firefighting, a lot of explaining, and that really wasn't where the value add is. And in the process, you kind of like miss the focus, wherein the focus really should be on the employee experience and not just on the accuracy of data, because that's, at least for Inspiro, we pride ourselves on the culture that we've built, and so we want to make sure that we're able to really foster that good culture that we have. And it meant looking at a lot of processes, a lot of potential initiatives, because just to illustrate, back then, for timekeeping alone, our team leaders for operations, they would spend something like 3 to 4 hours a week just to scrub timekeeping records for their teams of, team of 15 team members. And we said that they should not be doing that. They should be coaching. They should be there for the development of people. And so the vision really was to create a seamless, on a single platform, to create a process, a way wherein the dots are connected.
Right.
That was my dream. So in the presence of a lot of digitalization efforts and automation efforts, we wanted to make sure that the data is accurately captured and the data points actually speak to themselves. And what was also very important to us was that aside from increasing efficiencies, we wanted to make sure that the employee experience remained the same. So we wanted to have a tool that would empower our employees, because it's important that the employees understand that they participate in this whole journey of digitalization and automation. So we went ahead, luckily found People Strong.
Thank you.
And saw that a lot of the tick boxes, a lot of the, we're checking out. We wanted to make sure that there were, people had access to the tool. We wanted to make sure that, again, all the data points were connected without having to link them manually. We wanted to make sure that everything was kind of like uploaded and at the fingertips of all the stakeholders, because at the end of the day, this is a tool not just for human resources, but this is a tool for our employees. In fact, with your permission, we actually branded the tool to My HR. And I think that's pretty powerful, because when our employees now talk about the tool and how they use it, they know that they are actually the end users of My HR. So we took a look at the different modules and found that all the modules in the HR suite really address what we're looking for. And there's been a lot of great strides. Go to the next slide. There's a lot of efficiencies that we have gained. And just to give you a snapshot, I took a look at the June numbers, because that's a good place. Of the 8,000 applicants that we were able to process in June, we were able to process them pretty much real time.
Wow.
And that is quite amazing, because now there's a lot more things that our recruiters are able to do, rather than the typing up reports and all of that. Speaking of reports, we have about 2,500 movements that we've recorded for that month. And again, instead of using all that time, with the push of a button, we're able to create those reports. Performance management module was very interesting, because as of June, we actually have 99% of our employees that are enrolled into the program to be actually using them. The training programs that we have, because that's very valuable for us, given our retention initiatives. We actually had about 47 training programs that we developed in May, deployed through the system in June for about 7,000 employees. All of them took the course, and that really created a lot of goodwill and a lot of good buzz within our employees. Payroll, for 17,000 people, that's a lot. What used to take us days to process payroll, we're able to do in like minutes now, thanks to the system. And again, this provides an opportunity for us to take a look at the HR practitioner, the HR team member, and say, how can we retool you? How can we make things better so that there's a lot more value add into it? One of the things that, because when we did the research and we were taking a look at other vendors, one thing that we liked about the People Strong service offering was the communication tool that you guys were offering. And that for us is very important because, as I said, it's employee experience that's driving our need to automate and to make things more efficient. So one of the things that we wanted to keep was that that connection that our employees would have, regardless of whether they're working at home, they're working in Nicaragua, or they're working out of the Philippines. And we wanted to make sure that we have like a messaging tool and all of that. And that is pretty amazing. For June alone, 140 plus new group chats were created. So that means people are really using that to stay connected and to be productive. And about 1.4 million messages for June were sent and exchanged within the tool. Again, we're able to track all of this, all because of the tool. And now the nice thing is we're able to make certain decisions based on that information. Now, obviously, we're creating a lot of goodwill and we're creating a good buzz. Our NPS has been quite phenomenal. We've asked people how they're liking the tool and how they are appreciating it. It's about 47 is this NPS score, which is phenomenal. In terms of impact, there's just been so much that's been happening. You can see in the slides right now, there's about 80% efficiency, or reduction rather, and that has increased our efficiencies across, not just within HR, but even affecting the other departments. In fact, now they're kind of like trying to leverage, some of the other departments are trying to leverage on the tool, not just on the learning, not just on the survey capability or the communication cascade. And we're in the process of a digital transformation as an enterprise. And right front and center really is our tool. It's right in my HR. So we're very, very happy with this. So again, it wasn't just about creating efficiencies and creating more, value in terms of dollars and savings, but really wanted to make sure that the employee experience is a whole lot better. In fact, stretching it out even to the candidate experience. So that, I think, has propelled Inspiro to greater heights, and this is how we've used the new norm, the new work environment to our advantage.
This is absolutely super, and it's giving me goosebumps because I've lived this with you for the last 2.5 years.
Yes.
But kind of hearing this in a quick shot, I do remember a quick question on that fact.
Sure.
When we started all of this in the June of 2020.
Yes.
There were a lot of complexities that you were dealing with, and I think that's a question that a lot of us would want to know as well. You were having a change of investors.
Yes.
The world was going through a pandemic.
Yes.
How did you create your business case? It was not easy. We were doing so many conversations with your board in Japan, and your teams in Manila. How were you able to work that out?
Because there was already a plan. There was already a plan to digitalize and really that, but the pandemic really kind of like accelerated all of that.
Right.
So it was very fortunate for us that when we said it's time, everybody was kind of like supportive of it. So basically you do your math. These are your cost savings, these are your inefficiencies, this is how you can convert man hours and all of that. So you're able to really build that financial business case. But again, for Inspiro, what we wanted to bring in was the employee experience, the human side of things. So we also ran some surveys, how can we do it better? How can we make it more experiential for you? What would make you, more satisfied? And all of that information kind of like put it into that business case. And so when it was, we were given the opportunity to go out there and partner with a strong vendor, those are things that we considered. And it was timely in that sense. It was timely in that sense because everything was accelerated into moving into that digital environment.
This is a perfect case study in any historical transformation
Right.
that we would have done. And I'm not saying because we did together, but I'm saying to get along so many people together, run that business case, make sure that people were transforming the change along with it, especially your employees as well. What do you think would be a couple of areas that you would have tried improving? I mean, just being slightly critical.
Sure.
Don't go overboard.
No,
but just to get slightly critical on what would have liked to improve?
Top of head, two things. One is stakeholder management. I think, like a lot of our higher ups, they would think that it's a magic wand. It will solve for everyone's problem. So a little bit of expectation setting that it takes a while, especially for something like Espiro that had so many legacy policies and processes,
Right.
that we had to kind of like map that out. Then second would be the adoption rate. Meaning, once you get people to start using the tool, they're gonna love it.
Yeah.
But getting them to actually use it, that was something that up to now we still have areas to improve on. But word spreads quickly, and we have a lot of people who are fans of the tool right now within the enterprise.
And what's next? What's in the future?
What's next is really to just fully optimize the tool, to retool our HR people, so that they can maximize the data. As I said, we're connecting the dots right now, right? So it's all about analytics now. It's all about the big data being meaningful, and it's all about culture building based on the information that is being generated by the behavior of our employees and what the feedback our employees actually provide. So yeah, I mean, we're looking forward to more customized solutions. You're great at that. And so, we always have our ears pressed to the ground. We are fully aware of our stakeholders. And our stakeholders are not just our internal clients, but also our customers and how the environment is. And we're very confident we should be able to do this now that we're in your platform.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. I think we could keep going. I have an eye on the timer.
Yeah.
And I think we did the most impossible thing, finished all of this in 20 minutes. Thank you so very much, everyone. Thank you so very much. If you want to know any of this more, do visit at stall D5. I think beyond this and more is something that you can see at the stall working. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Marvin. Really
Have a great afternoon, everyone.